NFC South Roundtable, how are we feeling? It is your usual suspects back at it again with a pre-recorded video, another preview for another week of NFL football. Here we are going to be previewing week 9 of the 2024 NFL season, and we got some really, really good matchups. Like I've been telling you guys for weeks now, this is where football begins. This is where you start to get excited or depressed, depending on how your team plays, based off of how they start playing against their opponents. But hey, man, look, today's video brought to you by BetUS. In fact, while we're talking about BetUS, let's let you guys know about the limited time exclusive offer that you can get from them, because right now when you guys sign up, super quick, I've done it myself, it takes less than 60 seconds, you guys will get a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2 deposits, all the way up to $2,000 when you use the promo code that you see on the screen, YouTube150. That is YouTube150. Guys, this offer isn't going to be there forever. Grandfather yourself into this offer right now so that you do not miss out on it. BetUS, they have the best payouts in the industry, the fastest payouts in the industry. They can even give you a 200% crypto deposit bonus. They can give you a 10% back on your net losses twice a year, taking care of you and your money, a way that no other sportsbook on the platform is doing so. And they can give you your very own personalized account manager. They also have the best betting variety in the business. Not only can you bet on NFL games, but you can bet on college football. You can bet on NFL futures, like the NFL draft, who's going to have the first overall pick. You know, is Travis Hunter going to be a cornerback or a wide receiver when he transitions to the NFL? You can bet on politics, entertainment, horse racing, MMA, you name it, and BetUS is going to have it. In fact, earlier on, a few months ago, I don't know if they still have this, but they had this odd where you can bet on how many years Diddy was going to serve in prison. It was the craziest thing, dude. But those are the types of things. Those are the types of things that BetUS has for you to bet on to have a little bit of extra fun. The best damn sports book on the platform. Remember that supporting the sponsors, that support the channel, supports everybody at Roundtable Sports, and we could not be here without them. Please play smart. Please play responsible. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. And shout out again to BetUS. But fellas, let's get into this week 9 preview. And Smitty, I want to start with you. You guys are on cloud 9 right now. You are leading the NFC South. And really right now, you guys are a playoff team. You guys have been looking like a very, very hot team throughout the last few weeks. You guys have an interesting matchup. You play against the Cowboys. They might not have looked like the Cowboys we're used to, but that is still not necessarily an easy matchup. Talk to me about this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that 200%. You talk about a Dallas Cowboy that's experienced, especially on defense. They lost a lot, and I'd say coaching is everything, because as soon as Dan Quinn went to Washington, that defense hasn't looked the same. You look at Mike McCarthy, whose job is probably on the line. This offense can move down the field, but when it comes to critical moments in the game, Dak Prescott turned into a slot machine that's full of turnovers. If they can get Dak out the pocket and force him to use his legs, I would rather him use his legs to pick up yards, because if he stands in the pocket like Baker Mayfield and Geno Smith did the previous 2 weeks, he can pick the Falcons apart, especially with a guy like CeeDee Lamb, Brandon Cooks. So they can move the ball down the field, and we don't stop the run well. But this game, I think we can get back on track, because Zeke does not look like Zeke anymore. Tony Pollard in Tennessee. So the Cowboys, after that devastating loss to the 49ers, man, I think they're going to come in like Seattle did a couple of weeks ago, kind of desperate to get back in the playoff race. So this is a game that you definitely have to look out for. So what the Falcons have to do, I think, run the football. Tyler Algier, he's been a little not hobbled, but a little bit off the last couple of weeks. I think he has to get back on track. Dallas has a big defensive line, a big front on the defensive line that you have to hit in the mouth, and I think Tyler Algier will be key this game. Bijan, on the other hand, he's just still being Bijan. Another 100-yard game from scrimmage last week and another touchdown. So he's been gradually growing to become a top 10 running back in this league, and I think he's going to be key this game. So Bijan Robinson, the pass game, Bijan Robinson running the football. I think you have to build the offensive game plan around him this week. Him and Tyler Algier in that run game. Kyle Pitts last week, 4 catches, 91 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's steadily be trying to build that number 4 overall pick resume up, and I think he's doing a great job of that now that he finally has a quarterback. Dallas does not have anyone, just like any other team, that doesn't have anyone that can cover him. So again, I think he could be key as well, but this run game has to be key. Chew up clock, control the game, and I think the Falcons can win the game. And I'm going to take my Atlanta Falcons against the Dallas Cowboys. I'm going to go 24-17.
Bijan Robinson, man, that guy is a true inspiration. I mean, he's an elite running back, elite football player, and an elite actor during the offseason. I mean, a real do-it-all running back if you think about it. But, James, let's go on over to you, man. What do you think about this Falcons matchup?
Yeah, this is going to be a very interesting game for the Falcons, right? Can they prove that they can beat teams outside of the NFC South, right? 4 out of the 5 wins that the Falcons have right now are 2 against the Bucs, 1 against the Saints, and 1 against the Panthers. And the last time the Falcons played a non-NFC South team, it was against Seattle, and that game didn't go very well. So this is going to be a big opportunity here for the Falcons to prove that they are a legitimate, deep playoff contending football team going forward here. And I know the Cowboys have not been the best team this year, but they still have some very talented players on both sides of the football. So they're going to have to lean on what has had them win some games in the past here. Atlanta is that's relying on Bijan Robinson, like what Smitty was saying. That's relying on Kirk Cousins to be able to take care of the football. But I think the biggest question is going to lie with the defense. Can they finally get some type of pressure on the quarterback? That's going to be a very big question for the Falcons here, not just in this game, but going forward throughout the remainder of the season. And while I do think the Falcons have a good chance to win this football game, I am going to have them taking the loss here against the Dallas Cowboys. I think that given time, Dak Prescott will be able to find certain guys like CeeDee Lamb, some of the other playmakers in that Cowboys offense. And I think that the Cowboys defense will be able to get to Kirk Cousins in this matchup. I think that'll just be a little bit too much here for the Falcons to handle. So I have the Cowboys winning this football game.
Ooh, all right, Clay. What do you think? Talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, I think this game's going to be very interesting as well. You got a team that can't run the ball like the Dallas Cowboys, and you got a team that can run the ball. The Atlanta Falcons are at home. Their home record is not actually very good. It's 2-3 this year. But if you pay attention, Kirk Cousins, I think, is starting to kind of get there. He's not really lighting the world up, but I feel like he's going to start kind of coming into that, November mode, December mode, which we see teams do. But his passer rating right now is at an 86.0. I think we'll see that improve. He's got 7 interceptions, and that's happening at home. But I think that the Falcons are going to pull off. I don't know if you would consider this an upset, but I think they're going to pull off. I think they're going to run the ball, which that's what they need to do. I agree with Smitty. Get the ball in Algier and Bijan's hands. Of course, use Bijan in the passing game. But the Falcons' passing game has looked, I think, improved a lot better throughout the week. So, but give me I think the Falcons win this one. I'm going to say 34-31.
Ooh, 34-21. All right. CJ, why don't you wrap us up? Who are you taking in this one?
Man, the Falcons about to blow out the Cowboys. I mean, y'all giving the Cowboys way, way, way too much credit. They cannot stop the run. They can't stop any tight ends. And to be quite honest with you, you have a cornerback in Trayvon Diggs who's feast of famine. I mean, I seen him get worked by Jameson Williams. I mean, he couldn't stop him at all. Look, I think that the Dallas Cowboys, I think they are at a crossroads right now. I think you look at Mike McCarthy. I think he's going to get fired at the end of the year. You look at the fact I don't think Michael Parsons or DeMarcus Lawrence is playing in this game. Only saving grace they have is Overshown, the linebacker who's been sideline to sidelines. He's been a bright spot of that team. You got 2 veteran running backs that's past their prime, and Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, and also the wide receivers. I mean, outside of CeeDee Lamb, who do you have? Brandon Cooks is not there. You got a young Jalen Tolbert who's more of a downfield threat. You got Kevontae Turpin, who's a really good special teams guy. And you got Jake Ferguson, who's a really good tight end. You probably can do something there. But look, man, as long as you got Dak Prescott, you ain't winning jack. All right. I mean, the guy turns the ball over, throws more picks than Razor Ramon. So at the end of the day, I got the Atlanta Falcons winning this football game by a wide margin. I mean, I think it's gonna be a dominating performance.
Oh, you guys let us know, because that is your recap for this Falcons and this Cowboys game. Let us know in the comment section below who got it right, who got it wrong. And if you're listening to us on Spotify, go ahead and tag us, Instagram, Twitter. We'll make sure to respond. Let us know who got it right and who got it wrong. But James, let's get into the next game, because your Buccaneers, they're going up against the only undefeated team left in the NFL, and that is the Kansas City Chiefs. Let me tell you, if you had Chris Godwin, you had Mike Evans, I would say that this could be a really good, a really fun game. But without those guys, you guys struggled last week. Maybe just an easy L for you. You guys talk.
Yeah, I mean, look, you mentioned if they had Chris Godwin or Mike Evans. Again, for me, and we talked about this in the live stream, like the offense is not necessarily the issue for me right now. It's the defense. And I know that Patrick Mahomes has been struggling this year. I think he's about to cook. I think he's about to cook. I know the Chiefs are 7-0 right now. I think they're about to be 8-0. Will this be a competitive game? I believe it can certainly be a competitive game. But I just don't trust this Buccaneers defense to stop many offenses right now, given the lack of pass rush, given the lack of depth in that secondary, experience depth. And I think that the Chiefs, with obviously the greatest quarterback in the NFL and Patrick Mahomes, with and not so much this year, but with Andy Reid as, arguably the best offensive play caller in the NFL, I just think that that's where the Bucs are going to fall off the wayside. So I do have the Bucs losing this game and dropping to 4-5.
Ooh, okay, Clay, what do you think between the Chiefs and the Buccaneers?
Yeah, I mean, the Chiefs are like that old truck that just won't die, chugging along, despite the injuries piling up there. It's serious. Like, they just find ways to win. And I think that's where, for the Chiefs side of things, that is Andy Reid, right? On the flip side, the Buccaneers, they're fighting to the tooth, to the nail to stay afloat with Baker Mayfield. I'm sure he put up decent numbers last game, 330 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, but 2 picks. But he's missing key guys like Mike Evans and Godwin, right? They're in desperation mode, I think, right now. The Chiefs have a top 5 defense. Patrick Mahomes, I don't think we've seen the best of him yet, and he's got more interceptions than he does touchdowns. But he'll probably throw all over this 30th ranked defense. This will be like a practice session for him. The Bucs are 2-2 against the spread as underdogs in the season, so that's just not going to cut it in this matchup. I have to go with the Chiefs in this one. I'm going to say it's 30-23.
All right, TJ, talk to me.
I think it's going to be a competitive game. Tampa, they always seem to be game. Everybody thought that they were going to get blown out by the Ravens. But they were competitive and make a few plays. It could have been even more competitive, and they fought to the end. And I expect it to be the same way versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, the Kansas City Chiefs, I watched them play last week versus the Raiders. It ain't knocking your socks off. They just finding ways to win. And, it's not out of the realm of possibility for them to, slip up and lose one of these football games. But this won't be one of them. I got the Kansas City Chiefs winning this football game and by at least 10 points.
Hey, man, look, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The Chiefs might be playing some very close football games, but nonetheless, a win is a win and a loss is a loss. And it's definitely hard to bet against a team, right, that is just continuously winning. Smitty, talk to me.
Man, Arrowhead, man, one of the toughest places to play in the NFL. Mm-hmm. And with what the Bucs have going on with injuries, man, and a Chiefs offense that can put up a slew of points, that's a bad combination. Patrick Mahomes, to me, he hadn't seen like Patrick Mahomes since Tyreek Hill left, but I think Xavier Worthy is going to change that once he gets acclimated to the NFL level. And you see, you hear my little niece in there crying, so that's a sign right there. But look, I'm telling you, Patrick Mahomes would throw for 300 yards this game and 4 touchdowns. The way the Bucs secondary looked against the Falcons, I think the Chiefs going to exploit that. Travis Kelce showed up last week, so I expect him to have a big game. This is going to be one of those games that catapults Kansas City into probably that Super Bowl run we waiting on. DeAndre Hopkins was added. So, look, you talk about a high-power offense against a struggling defense, 31-17 Chiefs.
Yeah, man. And like Smitty said, too, let's keep in mind the Chiefs, they're getting a couple reinforcements here, not just on offense, but also on defense at the trade deadline. This is week 2 now of DeAndre Hopkins. Got to think he gets a little bit more involved. And then on the defensive side of things, they're adding a little bit of extra pass rush there by trading for Josh Uche. So, that team, they've been winning and they just added reinforcements. So definitely hard to bet against them. But guys, we have another big in-division game here, kind of battle of the basement, as we like to call it over at the AFC East Roundtable. That's between the Panthers. That's between the Saints. I want to give the floor to Clay and I want to give the floor to TJ. Clay, we'll start with you, and then TJ, you'll go next.
Yeah, New Orleans Saints and the Carolina Panthers. Derek Carr manages to shake off this oblique injury. The Saints might just find some momentum against us. And I mean, we're both in, kind of seems like we're both full in dumpster fire mode, but Carolina is sitting pretty at a 1-7 against, and that's against the spread this season, but also in their, their record. But, they have lost 3 home games. And when they've lost those 3 home games, they've only averaged 17 points. Bryce Young still does not look like a QB1 to me. And we need that solid run game to come back for him. Spoiler alert, though, ladies and gentlemen, he won't find that help from the Saints, who have been about as useful as a screen door in a submarine in that department. Now, here's the kicker. The Saints have enough firepower to trample this pitiful Panthers squad right now. All right, without breaking a sweat. I think if they can't handle this, it's time to rethink their whole season for the Saints if they can't beat us. But I'm going to take the Saints. I'm not picking Carolina of the rest of the year. Give me the Saints 23-16.
Man, I don't know if you noticed, Clay, but the Saints are the get-right team. I mean, no matter what you're dealing with, I mean, if you're struggling against the run, play the Saints. If you're struggling to throw the football, play against the Saints. If you're like on a bubble, went the last chance this is your last opportunity in NFL, play the Saints. I mean, you'll have a big-time play like Jalen Reagor and Ladd McConkey did. I mean, look, the Saints are a bad football team right now, and they do have Derek Carr coming back, but I still don't feel like that's enough. I mean, I really feel like, I'm not just saying this. I really honestly feel the New Orleans Saints are going to lose to the Carolina Panthers. Seriously. Like, I'm looking at some of the things that are transpiring with this team. This team is off. And then this is the straw, in my opinion, that is going to break the camel's back. Dennis Allen went on local radio and basically said, I'm paraphrasing this, he has no great young players on his football team. He just got good players, not great. Now, imagine you being a football player playing for a team and hearing your coach say this and knowing that your performance dictates if he keeps his job. So for that, I think that guy's already upset. And then you add this little caveat to it. I don't think the Saints are going to go out there as motivated as a lot of people think. So I got the Saints losing this football game. And as far as y'all 17 points, don't worry about it. I mean, the Chargers averaged 17 points and they scored 26. So y'all should be just fine. Saints lose.
Oh, man, I'm excited to get into the predictions in this one just because it really could swing either way. Battle of the basement, man. It really does go either way. James, we'll go down to you first. What do you think about this one?
I mean, this is wild. I mean, we got both guys who rep their teams saying, no, my team's worse. No, my team is worse. No, you don't understand. My team is worse.
That's bad.
It's wild times. Look, I have the Saints winning this game. Just to me, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Like the Panthers just don't look like a team that is really ready to be very competitive in most games this year. Now, I do agree with TJ that if there is one team that would totally be a team that the Panthers could beat, it could very well be the Saints, but I don't think it's going to happen. I do think it'll be competitive. But I do think that the Saints will win here. I think they'll do just enough to win. And Carolina will drop this one.
TJ give you that look like, man, you crazy.
Man, I'm telling y'all giving it way too much credit, man. I'm telling you.
Oh man.
Hey, look, Smitty, why don't you tell us what you think about this game?
Man, this game gonna look like two Division 3 teams playing against each other at the homecoming. But this game gonna be awful, man. I'm gonna just keep it real. I mean, it might be a 9-6 type game. But one thing that I do see out of Carolina, man, even though they're bad, they come out fight for their coach, and that's something the Saints not doing. And I agree with TJ. Because if you look at that Denver game, the first quarter, the Panthers seemed competitive. After the first quarter over, they just said to hell with it. Let's go home. But yeah, I think this is going to be one of those games like a field goal type game. I'm going to say 12-9. I'm going to go to Panthers because they're going to fight for their coach, and I don't see that in the Saints at all.
What's crazy is that both Clay and TJ don't want their team to win.
Yeah, because they want that top draft spot.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I was about to say the same thing. I was like, man, I ain't never seen two teams arguing about, no, I want to lose. No, I suck worse, man. Let me tell you, that is just the state of the NFC South. But, hey, guys, look, you let us know in the comment section below. Who got it right? Who got it wrong? Who do you think is going to win and who do you think is going to lose? We want to hear from you. And again, if you are on Spotify, go ahead and tag us with your thoughts on Twitter, Instagram. We will make sure to respond to you because we would love to hear back, of course, from our viewers. But let us know what you guys think here about week 9 for the NFC South. Saints, Panthers, Bucs, Chiefs, and Falcons, Cowboys. Another big time shout out to our sponsors of this video over at BetUS. Make sure, again, you guys use that promo code YouTube150 to get a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by $125 on your next two, all the way up to $2,000. We appreciate you guys so much for watching. Please make sure you guys do leave a big like on this video on your way out. Subscribe here to the NFC South Roundtable and hit that bell notification so that you get notified every single time we post and every single time we do go live, because we do go live every single Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern to break down what just happened throughout that week of football. But as always, we appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll see you next time. Stay safe.